Rosemary Wildflower tea. Dandelion flowers, Magnolia Blossom petals, rosemary, all fresh. It's just a glass, sort of, I think it's a 3.5 liter Dutch oven. Lid. Okay, I'm going to put the rosemary on the bottom. I'm going to next put, this is the petals from one bloom that was low enough to reach, fresh right off the tree, nice and fragrant. So what this rosemary and magnolia petals is going to do, it's basically dandelion tea taken to the next level. It's a gourmet version of dandelion tea. Right, so these petals will release, they have their own medicinal properties, and of course the rosemary is loaded with medicinal properties. So, but they're going to not only contribute that, but they're going to add an awesome sort of gourmet flavor to this tea. So I'm putting all dandelion blossoms. I just picked these in on the top. Now what I'm going to do here, this is very simple, so you just add those. Alright, so let me get rid of this. Okay, that's another thing I'm working on. Alright, so now here's some spring water that I collected at the source in glass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on this burner here, which is a smaller burner because I don't really necessarily want that much heat, but I am going to heat it up. I'm not going to turn it on yet. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the spring water and I'm just going to fill this, and I want to fill it to a level where it covers everything, so you can move around to sort of, those flowers, dandelion flowers are sort of condensed down. And then once you think you got it, they'll start to float, but I'm going to come up to about 2/3 of the level of that height of the Dutch oven, so I'm coming up to about right there. Maybe I'm going to add a little more. Okay, that's good. I don't want to bring it to a boil fast, so I'm going to put it like on I've got a dial from 1 to 10, so I'm putting it on 7 for right now, just to slowly bring it up to a boil. We don't want to really shock it. And while that's on, you take just a wooden or bamboo spoon. I'm going to press these flowers down, get them all submerged, make sure that they're all exposed to the water. Which as it heats up, these will continue to sort of melt into the. If any are sticking up now, they'll melt and eventually get absorbed into, all the way in there. So that's good. All of them are pretty much wet now and sort of, for the most part, submerged in the water. Okay, all I'm going to let this do is come up to a slow boil. We'll come back and check it. I'm not going to put this on yet. We'll come back and check it. I'm not going to put this on yet. We're starting to sink down a little bit. So we're just waiting on that, and once it comes to the light boil, we'll change gears. Change gears.
Change gears.
Change gears.
Change gears.
Okay, I can start to hear it a little bit. So it's about to come to that light simmer. I mean, to the simmer. It's still hot. Went ahead and turned it up to 9. There's so there's one of the magnolia petals right there, a couple of them. And you can see it starting to steam. And there's some of the rosemary. It's still bright green. Nice. Okay, so what I'm about to do now, I think this is hot enough. You could probably let it go a couple more minutes, but for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it down to a low simmer. Turn it down to like, on that scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to turn it to almost a 2. And then I'm going to let that simmer for 20 minutes, and we'll check back. Put the lid on it now.
Put the lid on it now.
Okay, even though it's been 7 minutes since I turned it down to 1, you can still see those bubbles coming from the bottom. That's why we don't want to leave it up high, because it got hot. And so this is like a balanced approach for controlling the heat. Now what I can do at this stage is I can uncover it and just sort of move it around, anything that's on top, get it submerged. And so see, it's still hot, so you wouldn't want to turn it any higher than 1 once you reach that light simmer stage, because this is a lot of water and it takes a lot of heat and gets hot to heat that up. Okay, so we'll check back in about 12 more minutes. So the time has elapsed. I manipulated the time, the heat up and down a little bit between 3 and 1. So I'm going to let that set to cool temperature and then strain it. So we'll check back, but let's take a look. So we'll let that cool. And a strainer, sort of like a medium grade to medium fine grade strainer. So, and now what I'm going to do is to sort of make this a little easier, I'm going to sort of bring that to the edge, and I'm going to take this is a quart size measuring cup, and I'm just going to dip down in here and just try to not let anything come in, or just get as much liquid as I can. That's pretty good. So I about got a quart of that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it through the screen.
Through the screen.
Through the screen. I've got a jar here, 2 if I need it. Set that there. So this will be a collection jar. This is a ½ gallon. All right, so now what I can do is I don't want to pour any more water in there because I don't want it to come up to the screen, so I go ahead and pour off the filtered or the strain right into the glass jar. And now if I wanted to cool this faster, I would probably pour some in a smaller glass, and maybe I could add a spring water ice cube. I've got some nice silicone ice cube trays that make that work really well. But I'm going to just continue to let that cool. Just taking it out of there and putting it in a cooler temperature glass is going to help. So now I'm ready to let's try this again, and just get as much liquid as I can, not worrying if I get any flowers in there or not, or stems or whatever. So there, I got about 2 cups or a pint. So I'm going to go pour right through there. Once again, let's just see what else I can get. A little bit more. All right, so now I think I'm ready to pour from just the pot and just get all the liquid out of there, and then I'll get rid of the flowers dregs. Well, let me go ahead and pour what I got in here. Okay. Alright, so it looks like it's going to make right at or slightly over half. Alright, so now there's only a little bit left in here, so I can just tilt that and just dump it all in there. one last little magnolia petal and dandelion petal. All right, so now that's close to the screen, so I'm going to go ahead and pour what I got, just a little bit off. That's almost full. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the wooden spoon and just gently press here. Just getting any liquid out of the flowers. This will be a medicinal part, so I'm sort of like compressing the dregs, so the rosemary and the magnolia petals and the flowers. So I will get a lot out. But what I can do is I can also take something like one of these little glass things and sort of put your fingers inside and just press. Just go around and press, and that'll be sure to get all of as much as you can out of there. And we'll see what we got here. All right, so done with that. So let's see. So you can see pretty good, significant. That's darker. So this is probably some of the more concentrated medicinals here. So let's pour that in a separate little glass. I think it'll fit in the pint. All right, so it's looking at the tea made just shy of a ½ gallon in a pint. So set that there. Okay. All right, so there's the pint. The last, and there's sort of what the flowers look like, the dregs. And here's the ½ gallon. I'm going to let that cool a little bit before I try it. It's just too hot right now, so I'm going to just let that air cool. Okay, you can smell the rosemary and a vague hint of the magnolia in there, so that's good. That's got a strong taste. It's definitely a medicinal tea. Okay, the dregs here will go right in the compost bin, which I have one started here with some lemons and some grapefruit seeds. So it's forms like this cool little cake. You can check that out. There's the magnolia and the rosemary. Very cool. Cooled down a little bit. I could put a little spring water ice cube in there, but I'm going to just juice a lemon. But I'm going to use the old school one, so I'm just going to juice this fresh cold lemon. So this is ice cold right out of the refrigerator, so that'll help finish cooling it down. And so let me get that lemon juice ready. This lemon juice, this fresh lemon juice, is just going to help the GI tract uptake or absorb more of these nutrients better. There's something about the citric acid and the compounds in the lemon juice that sort of make the molecular bonds with a lot of the medicinals and antioxidants in the tea. So when you add lemon to tea, it's always a win-win usually. All right, so we got our fresh juice of one lemon. All right, so now set that aside, and I'm going to pour this in here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it a step further. I am going to add one of those spring water ice cubes. I've got some little ones and some big ones here. I'll just use. It's like these are too big to even fit, so I'm going to use like one of these. So I'll use one of these, and I just pour the spring water that I collect in the glass. I just make these out of the deal. So let's put a couple of those in there. And this is going to be a nice little glass of the fresh Magnolia Rosemary Wildflower tea. All right, so now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort of make this. So we got the lemon juice, so I'm going to sort of like make it like the Master Cleanse, sort of a hybrid healthy tea version of it. I'm going to take a 1/4 teaspoon of 75,000 Scoville unit or heat unit cayenne, going right in there. And stir that up. Alright, always stir with a bamboo when I got citrus, so that's all dissolved. Cooling off more, got those 2 ice cubes in there. Sort of looks like a cool color now. It's sort of like this was like a sunburst color, and then when you add that cayenne, it sort of makes it look sort of like a sunburst. Let's see. That's a nice cool color there. Let's see if we can see the light on this one. Yeah, it's pretty interesting color tea. All right, so there it goes. I don't need a sweetener. Most of you probably will.